God is your source. Don't let it just sound like a religious cliche. Let it be something that is important to you in your life that becomes your present hour consciousness. The story of a man that was a farmer. He had oranges and a lot of business. Wasn't selling these things. And he was a big time businessman for this. His business went down. Talked with him to know what happened. Up for so long. And now he doesn't even have anything anymore. The fruit trees were gone. Everything was gone. His business was down. If you look around you today, many people are in that case. They used to have so much, they used to be somewhere, they used to have this and that, and they don't have anymore. It may just be something close to this man's experience. I want to tell you what he learned. Because God gave him the grace to start all over again when he discovered what his error was. Now, he found out that he made a big mistake in his life, which he was going to learn from for many other things in his life for all time. When his fruit trees were doing beautifully, he came and got the fruits and took care of the fruits and washed them good and took good care of the fruits because he's going to sell them. See, they're going to process these things. He's going to have a lot of money. So he took good care of the fruits. And not as much care of the trees. Come on, are you still there? The fruits were lovely. And every time he looked, oh, how beautiful these fruits are. So wonderful. And he prided himself in what he was doing. And he would take people there and they'll look at his fruit trees and it's so wonderful. And then they harvest the fruits and they come back, oh, truckloads of them. And they lived on this. And he was taking lesser and lesser care of the trees. Lesser and lesser care of the trees. He said, for as long as the trees were productive, I didn't think I needed to do anything about the trees. Because all the time, year after year, they were productive. I only came to look out for my fruits and got the fruits. He said, I was in for a big lesson. I found out later that the fruits were not the source of my income. The trees were. I thought the fruits were the source. I thought my business depended on my fruits. I found out my business was not dependent on the fruits, but on the trees. He said, because one year I came and the fruits were not as good as they used to be. And then he says, and the next season, they were not as good as the last one. And then the next time, they were not as good as the last one. And it was too late. I tried to do something about it, but it was too late. I had neglected the real source. The trees were the source of my business, not the fruits. Many times in our lives,
what can we learn from the story of this man?
We don't recognize the source. We look to the means. We look to the instrument as our source and don't know as our source and don't know the real source. We look to the instrument. We look to the means. God is our source. And when you make God your source, I'll tell you another story. A dear lady, she also learned something. She said, when the children needed new clothes and needed new shoes, and she saw that their clothes and their shoes were getting too small for them as they grew up, she prayed to God. She was a Christian, so she prayed to God to bless her husband. All right? And cause the company to increase the husband's salary. Come on. I wonder how many of you are in that boat when you pray to God because of your need, so he can increase your father's salary or your salary or your husband's salary or something. So she was praying to God to increase her husband's salary, to bless the company, make the company increase the husband's salary. Somebody actually made a joke of it and said, if God made the company to increase your husband's salary every time you prayed, the company would have been out of business. She discovered the company was not the source. The company was only an instrument, was only a means, not the source. So she said, I took the limitation off of God and let God become my source. And she said, when she made God her source and stopped looking to her husband and his company, suddenly blessings began to come from different places. Hallelujah. I want you to know this. God knows how to bless you. He doesn't have to do it through you. He doesn't have to do it through your chosen means. You have to learn to make him your source. Now, is that difficult? No, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's the same way that a man sows seed into the ground. He doesn't go into the ground to find out what's going on. He just sows the seed in the ground and goes to sleep. Hallelujah. And then he comes back and what? It's come up. When you make God your source, things change. Things change. Now you can really get blessed. And we have to also learn to thank him ahead of it. Learn to thank God. See, sometimes, like I told you on Sunday, there are people who look at their problems rather than looking at God. The closer you are to your problem, the bigger your problem is to you. The closer you are to God, the bigger God is to you. Depending on which one you're closer to. Hallelujah. If you're closer to your problem can overwhelm you. It'll swallow you. It'll always be talking about your problems, then looking older and older and older, and cutting your life shorter and shorter and shorter, and getting rid of your health and getting sick. Because you're always thinking about your problem, which means you're closer to your problem than to God. So God looks so small because you're far away from him. You know, the closer you are to a mountain, the bigger it is to you. The farther you are from that mountain, the smaller it is. So when you're farther away from God, God looks small. And you're closer to the problem, it looks big. Get away from your problem, get close to God, and God looks big and God overwhelms
How can I make things right?
you. What are you going to do? You're going to act on this. Okay? Remember, it's more blessed to give than to receive. You have multiplied to you what you give, not what you receive. So you stand a chance of receiving more blessings for giving than for receiving. Number two,
In conclusion,
God is your source. If God is your source, stop looking to anybody else as your source. And don't expect that the people you give to must be the ones that give back to you. Because if God is your source, then you don't expect nothing from them. Because when you look to them, you are creating opportunities for yourself to become bitter, to become resentful, and even hateful of them. Because you think, I did for them, now they don't do for me. I gave to them when I had, and now I don't have, and they have, and they don't give me. So when you do that, you let the devil in. And that's the wrong environment, and your seed dies. Or it grows with very thin fruits. Sow the seed for what you want. Whatever you want, sow the right seed for it. Because that's what you're going to get. And by the way, if you don't know this, you've been sowing a long time. You've been sowing. You've been sowing. If you sow nothing, what do you get? Because God's going to multiply nothing back to you. And then sow the right seed. And then you see that when you don't forget others, people don't forget you. Sow seed of prayers. And you can be sure, if you do pray for people, you can be sure there are a lot of people out there praying for you.
hello friends, this is the sermon highlight for the message Seed Faith Part 4. In this message, we learned that God is our source and we are supposed to sow the right seed.